Hey there.
Hey,
There he is. What's up?
what's going on, man?
Oh, just enjoying life, man. Just watched the sermon. Good little message.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, home church, Bedside Baptist. It was great. All right.
Yeah,
It's been a long time coming. The Keto Bros are back in action.
yeah. I wonder,
Yep.
I wonder who all might remember that from about a year ago.
I'm sure a few people. I don't think everybody's forgotten about us. But it has been a long time. I took a long break from keto, and but I've come back around to it to cut down for summer, and yeah, so I'm excited to bring them the news. We've talked about it a little bit, so um,
Yeah.
but before we do that, you want to talk about something coming up?
Yeah. So, in recent Keto Brick news, I don't mean to um, tease everybody too much, but there is a new upcoming Keto Brick flavor, and any of you guys have been following Keto Break and use the products.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
You're good.
If any of you guys have been following along with Keto Break, you know that we absolutely, without a doubt, become the crowd favorite, and it is the most popular flavor by far. But we are getting ready to launch a new flavor. I'm not allowed to announce it at this time, but it's coming up very soon. Adam got a little sneak peek
Well,
with
I
that particular flavor.
I got it right here, and yeah, I had a little bit this morning. Tried the new flavor out, and yeah, I texted you right away and said, "Man, this is. I think this might be better than the peanut butter." So, which I didn't think was possible, but it is very, very close, if not better. I'm not sure, but the texture, everything is incredible. I really like it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's been a pretty consistent response with people that we have kind of have gotten the privilege to get a sneak peek and try it out, and
mhm,
people are shocked to say that they have now tasted a flavor that literally competes with peanut butter as good as that
mhm.
one is. So, for those of you that aren't aware of what we're talking about, this is the Keto Brick. This is the pumpkin pie flavor that it was a seasonal flavor, but that's the Keto Brick. It's a 1,000 calorie keto meal replacement bar that uses the highest quality of ingredients, is in perfect keto macros, and is completely 100% shelf stable, and is the best keto product on the market by far. I have a little bit of a biased opinion, but that is my opinion. And awesome product. And yeah, stay tuned for this new flavor drop.
Yeah, and we'll both of us will be plugging that as it gets closer to the launch. So really excited about that. But yeah, I'm excited to announce that Brandon is going to be my coach for the upcoming 3 months that I'm going to do this competition. So Brandon's going to be coaching me through the Deeper State Keto program, the program he used to get absolutely shredded for his competition that he won back in, what was that, October? When
Yes,
was that?
October 12th.
So October 12th now. I'm not going to take it to the extent that you did, where you were literally crawling up to the stage because you were so depleted and weak. But you gave it all to get that number one that medal and everything and get first place. But can you explain the upcoming process for the next, just say, like, the next 4 weeks? What am I to expect through these upcoming weeks starting Deeper State Keto?
Yeah, so there's so many ways out there to do keto and to implement different tools like intermittent fasting and restricting different food groups. But when it came time for me personally to prepare for my first bodybuilding competition, I decided to go all in 100% on the Deeper State Keto protocol, the Deeper State Keto course. And it is by far the most strategic and detailed program out there, in my opinion. And I proved it to myself by using this protocol to get me in the best shape of my life, leaner than I've ever been before, and to actually win the competition. And so through that, I'm confident to tell anybody that the Deeper State Keto protocol works to get you into the best version of yourself if you're willing to put in the work and willing to be dedicated to the process. Now, in this first month, so the Deeper State Keto protocol is taking the fat, which everybody knows keto is generally, moderate to high fat content, and then moderate protein and low carbohydrates. But Deeper State Keto takes the fat even higher and drops the carbs, total carbs, even lower. So starting off on this first month, we used Robert Sykes, who is at Keto Savage on Instagram, and you can check out his website and everything at ketosavage.com. But he has a macro calculator that is actually free and available for anybody to use on his website, ketosavage.com. We used that macro calculator to determine your starting caloric amount and your starting macros down to the gram for fat, protein, and carbs. And so we're going to start your fat off at around 80% of your calories are going to come from fat. Then we developed where your starting threshold should be for your calories. And then we're going to gradually taper down from there as we adjust your macros. And in this first month, the goal obviously is to start getting lean,
Yeah.
but it's also to figure out your protein threshold because it is very individual specific. So people can respond better to higher protein or better to lower protein, and conversely higher or lower fat and how those balance out. So we're going to test that out during the first month to try and find the optimal amount for your body.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're also starting the process of getting lean as we gradually taper down those calories, and then that's going to be how we kind of feel out month one. And also it kind of, see, Deeper State Keto takes to the point where it takes a little bit getting used to in the beginning because you think 10 total carbs, that is not a lot of carbs. But the impact that it has to produce that, what Robert Sykes, the creator of the Deeper State Keto course, the way he terms it is that it's gradually applying more and more pressure to your
Yeah.
body to change your body's composition.
Yeah. I have to be honest, like I was a little worried when I saw how few carbs are allowed at the beginning of this. And I remember you telling me back when you started Deeper State Keto for your competition, how that, that was going to be, that's very, very, a lot of different programs start you out with like 40 to 50 grams max each day. But starting out with that few, you really have to start looking at, really eating good types of meat and a lot of carnivore type approach with it because there's so many little carbs hiding in, things that you wouldn't think were in them. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
almond butter, things that, you don't really count if you're doing kind of a lazy keto approach. To get yourself dialed in, you have to take it to the next level. And that's why I wanted to do this with you, is
Mm-hmm.
because I just know that I've gotten in really good shape before doing my own thing, but I want to see how deeper state keto and from what I saw at the competition, what I know taking this process and taking it slow, how we do, I know I'm going to get in better shape than I was at my previous best. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you saw firsthand because you've seen my whole ketogenic transformation.
yeah.
And so you know firsthand what I was able to get to before deeper state keto, and then the extent that I was able to take it to with the strategy provided through the deeper state keto course.
Yeah, that's why, even more so, that's why, because I knew, back a couple years ago before you started working at Keto Brick and were the project manager and you were a police officer, both of us had gotten extremely good results just doing it ourselves and just kind of because that's how great the keto diet is. I mean, it doesn't take a ton. It just takes you doing it day in and day out, the consistency with it. But going with deeper state keto and having your macros and calories set up, that to get yourself in that much better shape from what I saw, I was just like, I got to try this for myself and see where I can take my goals, my physique. So I'm really excited, and I'm excited to do this with you and to have you. I mean, Brandon has laid out everything for the upcoming week. It was really easy for me, set up everything, and within just a couple hours, we were ready for the upcoming week. And today's day one of starting the program.
Awesome, awesome. And do you want to kind of break people down for the plan that you have so far as your exercise routine, especially during these interesting times that we find ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. Before that, I'll go over my macros and everything first off so people know. So my calories set are right now 2,616 calories. My carbs are obviously 10 grams. Protein is 120 grams. And fat is around, what is it, 236? Around there, 200.
Yeah, that sounds right. I got it written down here.
But yeah, that's from memory. That's what I can remember. And then for my workouts right now, we don't know when gyms are going to be opening up again. I have a membership at Planet Fitness, which is super cheap and affordable, but they closed down 2 or 3 weeks ago. So with no end in sight with that, went back to Undersunfitness and the band's workouts, and just basically going to be relying on that for all my workouts until the gym opens up, and then I might start adding in some weight training along with the band training to kind of mix and match and kind of keep my body guessing and stuff like that. But I just recently ordered I got them shipped to me already and everything. I used them first couple times here. The new gloves and the wall anchor to do in the door, and I was very surprised how easy that was to set up, like the wall anchor or the door anchor, I should say, and just how I mean, it's just no time at all to set up. I mean, you don't have to. It takes really few seconds to get all your exercises set up, and you're ready to go. So it's nice being able to do these workouts in like 45 minutes too. You don't take many breaks. I mean, very short rest times, and get the workout knocked out before you go to work. So
Yeah, I remember like when I first started using the door anchor, like I thought it was a huge variety of exercises I could do at home before I introduced the door anchor.
right.
But then the amount of exercises that you can do once you introduce the door anchor into it, I mean, there's nothing left. You can do it all. As long as you have a door and the door anchor and the bands, you're good to go.
Well, the crazy part is too that like you wouldn't think that the door could withstand the amount of tension and different movements and stuff, and you would think, oh, it would wobble around and it won't be stable, it won't be like anchoring to a bar or something like that, but it really is. The attachment on the end, that big sponge at the end, really cushions the tension for your pulling
Mm-hmm.
movements and stuff like that. So I didn't feel any sort of slack or the stability of the bands is great with that attachment. So if you don't have anything to really anchor to, definitely recommend. I think it's like $10, but I mean, It's definitely a need that you could easily have it and doesn't take up hardly any space, and it's just the best thing to have for the time right now where everybody's inside. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah,
Yeah, and and I mean, heck, you've used the bands for a long time. I mean, heck, you're the one that got me onto bands and the Undersun Fitness program and everything, and so much so that that's what I decided to use myself for my
yeah,
competition prep, and only used bands and body weight to which ended up, leading with the deeper state keto to winning the competition. And
right,
the only reason I felt so convinced was because you convinced me to try them,
yeah,
and I saw your results and heard your review. So it's not like you're, as far as the exercise program goes, it's not like you're entering into any uncharted waters. I mean, it's the Undersun fitness bands, are proven to each of us at this point.
yeah. And I had somebody message me yesterday about they just started the TA2 muscle building program, which both
Yeah.
you and I have done, and they were
Hmm.
a little concerned about like the lack of variety in it, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the workouts are um, very similar. I mean, it's the same stuff every week. It looks like." And I told them, I said, "It's going to take you 4 weeks of not anchoring anything other than standing on the
Hmm.
bands to get used to." How the bands feel, because you would think, oh, I worked out for all these years. I mean, how hard could bands be? And then you start doing like a bent over row and you're like, this feels completely different. I don't
Hmm.
know how to tap into feeling the muscle work. I'm using a lot more of my traps. I'm trying to target this area. So it's just, I told them, I said, don't worry. Like once you get into weeks or months 2 and 3, you're going to start anchoring. You're going to see a lot more variety, but they start out so simple because they want you
Hmm.
to crawl before you start walking with the bands. And that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Do you want to comment on like starting out when you first started with the bands and what you saw and
Yeah.
how it felt?
Yeah, so I had done, home workouts for years, pretty much solely with body weight. And I mean, I love body weight training. I love pull-ups and push-ups and dips and body
Yeah.
weight squats and lunges, and I'm a jump rope fanatic. And but when I started, but I had shoulder problems, and my shoulder problems had developed from on-the-job injuries as a police officer. And I was at the point where I thought one of two options: I'm going to have to deal with the pain, or I'm going to have to get surgery.
Yeah.
And the reason I mention that is because that came into play when I started with the bands. And it's totally normal when you start with the bands to feel or to think to yourself, this is awkward.
Yeah.
It's awkward. It's not smooth. And what the reason being is because your stabilizer muscles are weak. You've developed your muscles, but not the underlying stabilizer muscles. And once, and I noticed this the most with my shoulders because that's where I had problems, but it literally healed my shoulders to the point that I am able to train now without pain. I don't have pain in my shoulders, and I will never use anything else other than the resistance bands for my shoulders ever again. But it applied to all the other exercises too, where all of a sudden your body stabilizer muscles, strengthen, and then that is when you start feeling the most intense muscle contractions that you've ever gotten before.
Yeah. And I feel like too, when people start out with the bands, they don't understand like you have to control every movement you do. You can't just go about the movement
Mm-hmm.
like you would with weights. And that's why they're like, oh, it doesn't really feel like it's working. It's like you have to control every part of the motion. Like I was doing arms the other day and did one of the workouts and supersetted biceps and triceps. And I mean, controlling the curls, just a simple
Mm-hmm.
curl
Yeah.
and focusing on peak contractions and everything. It's just such a different feeling. You have to take it a lot slower and really think about what muscle you're targeting rather than just, oh, I'm just gonna, like for arms, I'm just gonna do this curl it's supposed to start burning. Like you have to really think about the movement as a whole.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it really helps you learn how to have that muscle mind connection that everybody always
yeah.
talks about, but a lot of people don't understand. But this
Hmm.
kind of forces you to get to the point to where you finally are able to grasp what that truly means and what it truly feels like, and it allows you to be able to take things to the next level, and all in the comfort of your own home or wherever you want to work out.
Yeah. And that's why, me and you both, you said recently you're more so doing calisthenics right now just because that's, your forte. That's what you
Hmm.
had your whole basis on before Undersun. But just to have that in your wheelhouse to
Hmm.
keep the variety going, because I'm the kind of person that once a couple weeks go by and I'm doing the same thing, I'm like, all right, well, I need to find something else. But to be able to have the bands, you have a couple chest movements on chest day, you can, do your 200 push-ups and then do
Hmm.
some fly. It just gives you a whole lot more variety to work with. But I mean, we've always talked about too how you don't need you don't need anything other than your body to create a great physique. I mean,
Yeah.
you showcased that before you went to do the NACA competition. I mean, you got in great shape just doing push-ups, pull-ups, and body weight squats. So if you don't have the money to get the undersun bands, which that's understandable due to people being out of work and stuff, you can still just get a pull-up bar at Walmart for $20 that you can stick in a door frame, and you can
Hmm.
do a great workout. I mean, share a little bit about what you've been doing recently that you were telling me about,
Yeah.
um, to fit into your busy schedule, because like you got tons of kids, you're full-time, sole provider. Your wife stays home, stuff like that. So you don't have a
Hmm.
lot of time to be messing around if you want to get a
Yeah.
workout in.
Yeah, I kind of recently switched things up with because of some demands, and the thing is people oftentimes like to wait until their life situation is perfect for them to do everything full throttle, 110%, and that's all great when you can do it. But um, sorry, a question just popped up that I
Yeah,
saw
sorry.
for Adam.
You're good.
Um, but um, my demands,
You're good.
uh, my demands day to day kind of changed up, and so it had changed my routine, and so I had to change it up to where I was working out, 4 to 6 days a week, 45 minutes to an hour at a time, and that just didn't become a reasonable approach for the current phase that I'm in. So what I've been doing is essentially working out 20 to 25 minutes every day, doing pull-ups and either dips or push-ups for chest. I will do a pull-up set to failure, rest a minute, and then I'll either do a set of dips or push-ups to failure, rest a
Yeah.
minute, and then go back and forth with different pull-up variations until I hit like 20 to 25 minutes. I'm usually hitting around 150 push-ups, or if I do dips, it's 75 dips, slow and controlled, and around 60 total pull-ups each day. And then on the weekend, when I do have a little bit more time, I'll also add in about 20 minutes of walking lunges where I can get in about 300 total walking lunges. And that has actually been super effective. Like it's actually surprising me that the compounding results of hitting that amount of volume, and I'm actually doing more total volume now than I was doing it 45 minutes to an hour 4 to 5 times a week. I'm actually getting more reps per exercise now, and I'm seeing really good results from it. So you've got to be able to, like we always say, you got to be able to adapt and overcome in any
Hmm.
situation. And when you have, the knowledge of how to apply body weight exercises, and also you have access to something like the Undersun Fitness resistance bands, the excuses are gone. And we all love to make excuses, but excuses, don't get us anywhere. So you got to
Yeah.
be able to adapt and overcome. And when you're super busy, like we are with our families and work and everything and all the demands, you got to focus on quality over quantity. Our other little saying.
Yeah.
And both of those come into play if you want to succeed. But it's definitely possible.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I think that's important for people to hear, especially during times where you don't have as much access to gyms and stuff like that. You can still get in a great workout in even 20, 25 minutes. So,
Hmm.
but I want to answer that question real quick. So I'm competing in the summer shredding online competition. I'm not doing the actual stage competition. You can still enter and everything right now. I think it's $15 to enter if you go to summershredding.com, or they have their Instagram too if you look up. But that's Christian Guzman's competition he puts on every year to get everybody hyped up to try and transform and get in really good shape for summer. So they pick 20 top winners to win. They give away $2,000 each. So based on the transformation. And that's what I'll be competing in. So we're 15 weeks from the end of it. So every week, maybe we can get on here and talk and give some updates on what's going on. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering too, with shredding down, everybody gets so concerned with cardio. So what is in the protocol for Deeper State Keto for me to start with cardio this week?
Yeah. So you have a very cardiovascular demanding job, with your job with UPS. So you are walking like crazy all day long. And, so it's a little bit different for you than somebody who has like a desk job or something like that. So what you want to do, no matter who you are and where you're beginning at, what you want to do is start at a level that is not 100%. You want to be able to use cardio as an additional tool to gradually apply more and more pressure throughout that process to continue to force your body to gradually change. So you don't want to start out doing, 30 to 45 minutes of cardio, 7 days a week, because it's going to be really hard to ramp it up as you start to approach your deadline in order to force your body to go into each next level. So my suggestion for you would be to start off, I mean, actually pretty modest, like maybe a couple 20-minute sessions a week right now. And like maybe 2 to 3 20-minute sessions a week. And then once we cross into phase 2,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have a lot of room to ramp it up from there, and maybe not even that much. Maybe just one 20-minute session, just because of how much walking you do every single day. You are burning a tremendous amount of calories, and it's in the form that we want to do as well. We're not going to be doing HIIT style cardio because there's a lot of reasons why that we can go into maybe at another time,
Yeah.
but really for this, we want to preserve as much muscle as possible, and we're doing it purely as a fat burning goal. And when you do low intensity, steady state cardio, which I tell my clients, what I want them to do is just perform the exercise in a manner with such intensity that it would, just to the point where you're out of breath, to where it would be difficult to carry a conversation. And that should put you into prime fat burning mode. When you start ramping up into these different HIIT sessions where you're doing this super high intensity, you start burning glycogen instead of fat. But when you're doing low intensity steady state cardio, you're burning predominantly fat more than anything else.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start at. I think a lot of times people get too ahead of themselves with trying to cut, and they think, I got to really ramp up the cardio and get the calorie burn going. Which, if I had a more sedentary job, I think that you would put in some more steady state cardio sessions. But being that I walk a
Yeah.
lot anyways, we're just starting out with one or maybe two 20-minute walks, at a good pace just to get a
Yeah.
heart rate up, right?
Yeah, and for
Um,
you, that could even be because I know you like to go for a walk in your neighborhood, kind
yeah,
of as your warm up. And the 2 to 3 20-minute sessions could be broken down, into a 10-minute walk every day before you
yeah,
train, since you're going to be training like around 5 days a week, most likely. So, and it all adds up, and it needs to be taken as a totality of the circumstances approach, instead, adding everything in together over specified periods of time rather than, you know, uh, just having the bullseye on one day at a
yeah,
time. You want to focus on each day, but you want to do it with also the approach of the big picture.
yeah. Well, I really look forward to sharing with everybody our process and just giving people a firsthand look at what the Deeper State Keto program does and showcasing not only the program but your coaching because
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if somebody signs up with you to coach, it's they're going to get if they work hard and they
Mm-hmm.
commit to the goal, then the results will happen with your coaching. So if anybody's interested, Brandon.c.clark is his Instagram. So just go to him, send him a message, and he'll get you set up if you're looking to transform and get in really good shape for summer, like I
Mm-hmm.
am. And so I think that should do it with everything today. We can
Mm-hmm.
go about our day, but I really enjoyed talking to you, man. It was fun
Yeah.
to kind of dive into the upcoming week and the process, and maybe we can do this again like next Sunday around the same
Yeah.
time.
And maybe we can share with people kind of our thoughts of, I know you talked about already doing this, maybe on a weekly basis if we can make it work, and maybe kind of turning it into maybe like a little bit of a podcast style, uploading it to the old Keto Bros YouTube channel.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if people like that idea, shoot us a comment and let us know that you would like to see that and see, the process all the way through. Adam's cut, because he is going to get shredded. But then also,
Yeah,
maybe just real quick, the one product that he will be able to use through this whole thing is the
yeah,
Keto Brick because of how high quality it is. It is a delicious keto product, but it is made to be a performance product. It is that high quality that when I used it in my competition, and I still eat an entire keto brick pretty much every single day, but I used it. Yeah, there it
there
is.
it is, the
I
new brick
used
right
it.
here.
Yep.
Yeah,
Man, that thing looks good. But I used it from day one of my competition all the way through to the end, including the night before my competition, which that meal before the night before your competition is critical. And then not only that, I had some of the keto brick and used it strategically within, what was it, an hour or two before stepping on stage.
it was that day. Yeah, you were parceling out little
Mm-hmm.
bits to get your sodium up to
Yeah,
fill out.
so with most keto products out there, you kind of have to view it as that you're kind of cheating a little bit. You're not doing a fully bad cheat. It's better, but it's not best. But the thing with the keto brick is it's more, in my opinion, more delicious than anything else out there, but
Hmm.
it is a best. And you can have it, and it won't break your macros. It won't break your goals. There's nothing in it that will cause anything less than a positive response in your body for the process. So once again, that looks like ketobrick.com, and then
Boom.
also sporting the Keto Brick shirt here as well. So
Yeah, I'll be having it throughout the whole prep, and it fits amazing into any sort of keto diet because everything is so spot on with the macros. It
mm,
single-handedly has the best macro percentages of any other product I think out there as far as your carbs ratio, because that's what really gets people tripped up in
mm-hmm.
all these other products is it's still you're getting 15, 20 grams of carbs. And oh yeah, half of it you should subtract, but we all know I mean you should include all of it as one carb, You don't
Well,
subtract fiber a lot
that's
of
the
times.
thing with all of the keto bricks, no matter what flavor you're talking about, whether it's cookies and cream, mocha cream, coconut cream, cinnamon 2.0, the peanut butter, pumpkin pie, or this new one, they're all 1,000 calories. They all have approximately 90 grams of fat. All have approximately, or like around 30 grams of protein, and around 12 to 16 total carbs, depending on the flavor that you get. And that's pretty consistent all the way through. And so you're talking 12 to 16 total carbs for a 1,000 calorie meal replacement ketogenic bar. And that just can't be beat
Which is
anywhere
unheard
else.
of. Yeah, thousand calories, and you have those kind of macros. I mean, in
Yeah.
anything else, you would be up to 50 to 60 carbs, something like that, if you wanted to have that many calories. If you
Yeah.
wanted to sit down and have that as a meal,
And
I
the
mean,
great
which
thing is, I was telling you last night when we were talking, but like these macros that you're going to be assigned are not super easy to hit because they are such high fat, 80%, and such moderate protein and such low total carbs of, shooting 410 total. That's
right,
really hard to hit. But during my competition prep, the thing that made all the difference in the world was having the Keto Brick to use as a performance product. When I would implement the Keto Brick, like my macros would be hard to work out until I entered the Keto Brick. And then
hmm
because of the macros, it made everything work seamlessly. And I had this, delicious thing that seemed like a cheat. It feels, it's so delicious. It seems like a cheat, but it's
right,
not. You can have it every day all the way through.
yeah. Yeah, it's one of the things that I'm really happy that I can rely on during this whole time, because it's tough to find things that are in line with your macros. That I mean, making fat bombs and stuff like that is great too if you can, but
Hmm.
this is already set up. And the cool thing is too, if you want to melt them down, like a lot of people, they're like, well, man, that brick's big. Like, how am I gonna break it up? And how do I use it? But last week melted a bunch down and put them in fat bomb. Little canisters and froze them. And now I
Hmm.
have like 15, 20 gram fat bombs that I can eat derived from the Keto Brick. So you can melt it down. It's really easy, and there's a lot of versatility with the product as a whole that you can fit in and have smaller portions and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
that's the thing. It works great as a product that you can break down to be, used strategically by you as an individual for your individual specific macros. Just because it comes in a 1,000 calorie brick doesn't mean, you have to eat the whole thing in one sitting,
although
you
we
know.
have done that before.
Yes. Yeah, I see a question here, Adam.
Oh, did somebody ask something?
Yeah, yeah. It said it's Tamar. I think that's how you say the name. If I said it wrong, please forgive me. But the
Yeah.
Road to Health podcast. She said she's loving DSK, but it's starting to get difficult. She's in phase 2, about 3 weeks in, and so my response to that would be yes, you are getting to the point to where things are starting to get difficult, and you're going to have to start, digging deep at this point. I actually did a post recently of all the things that I struggled with, and I think we a lot of times see all these posts of before and after transformations, and everybody's talking about all the good. Well, a lot of people don't always talk about, the struggles and the challenges that we all face. And it's going to, in order to get to a certain level of conditioning that you want to get to, it's going to take a certain amount of suffering. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
just the way it is.
Well, I think a good quote is like, if to get incredible results, you have to get uncomfortable.
Hmm.
I think that rings true with any transformation. A lot of people think that, man, I can just, I'll get down to 8% body fat or whatever and see my abs, and it's not gonna be that hard. I mean, I just have to clean up my eating and do a little cardio and stuff. But to really get the results that you see on some of these posts, you got to dig in for like at least 5 or 6 weeks and really push it and make
Hmm.
yourself uncomfortable,
Hmm.
because it's not the results you get with that. It's You can't get that by just kind of doing what you've always done, because you're not going to get the results.